silence and darkness beside what remains of a man I once knew, I found myself wondering how such a close friend could have hid so much, so well, for so long. He stares back at me with glassy, soulless eyes, the ghost of a smile still lingering on his pale blue lips, and wonders how I could possibly miss what has been right in front of me the whole time. It is now that I am forced to question everything. Every conversation, every promise, every secret. Every time I asked him how he was doing, every time he smiled his plastic smile and said that he was fine. I tell myself I couldn't possibly have known how horrible he was really feeling inside. I tell myself that if he really needed help, he would have asked for it. I tell myself that even if he did ask, I couldn't have done much anyway. I tell myself it's not my fault. I tell myself I'll sleep tonight. I remember how he used to be. I remember the jokes. I remember the laughs. I remember the brilliant ideas. I remember the stupid mistakes. I remember the joy. I remember the pain. But most of all, I remember how full of life he was and how hard he tried to share that spirit of life with others. I remember how his personality lit up the world around him like a lighthouse over a dark, stormy sea. I remember when he was a beacon of hope for me. I don't remember exactly when he changed. I don't remember the precise moment when the light faded away, when the light dimmed and he was lost in a sea of blackness. I can't put a timestamp on the day I lost my best friend. But I do remember seeing the look of vacancy in his eyes when he looked at me, like staring through the windows of a house that hasn't been lived in years. I remember the cold, dark emptiness behind those glassy windows. I remember when I started to notice the thick, dark bags under them. I remember when his skin started turning the faded off-white of an old sheet. I remember him getting so skinny he could have been knocked off his feet by a light breeze, his jawline thinner than a razor blade, his cheeks sunken in like craters, ridges of bone nearly poking through the stretched, pale skin. I remember the day he pulled his sleeves down to hide the marks on his arms. I remember seeing him less and less after that day. I remember the missed phone calls. I remember the unread messages. I remember the lies and the half-truths and the excuses and the things he said that he meant in the moment, the things I wanted so desperately to believe. I remember wanting to help him. I remember not knowing how. I remember watching day by day as he vanished behind a mask. I just never thought so many smiles could be faked. Never knew such a tortured soul could be disguised behind such a thin veil. Never realized such a strong person could be so broken. I know, all the signs were so obvious, right? I would have had to have been blind to have not noticed it, right? How could I have missed it? How could I have not seen the war he was fighting before he became a casualty? How could I have not seen him at the edge of the darkness and pulled him back before it was too late? Before he surrendered his soul to it? Before I lost him forever? Wouldn't a good friend have noticed sooner and done something in time? Of course, a part of me knew the man I once called friend was falling into the abyss. And yes, a part of me wanted to reach out a hand and save him. A part of me. But a much bigger part was scared to look behind the mask, scared to see what was left of the man behind it. So I did what felt better, what felt safer, what felt easier. I let myself believe that everything was okay. Yet now, here I sit staring at the cold, merciless result of my ignorance, arrogance, and selfishness. the horrific truth of my complacency, the heartless reality of my inaction. Only now that it is too late to do any good, I find myself wondering, should I have known all along? Should I have kept a closer eye on him? Should I have called someone? Should I have done something? Does it make me a bad person because I didn't? Would it have even made a difference if I had? Was I ever really his friend? Did I even really know him at all? In the weeks and months to come, this missing piece of the world, the piece that some called son, the piece that some called brother, the piece that some called friend, it will fade into the background with a million others that have been lost to the sands of time. Even those who were closest to him will begin to forget the story that was told here. They will go back to their everyday life, drinking Corona with their other friends, and pretending like nothing terrible has happened. Pretending like all of their souls haven't just been gripped by the darkness and come away stained. Then they'll make posts on social media about how scared they are of the new sickness that's sweeping the nation, killing thousands of people. Meanwhile, none of them will offer any solution to the deadliest diseases of them all, the ones that are right next door to them and in their own backyard. Because the simple fact is, there is no brand of hand sanitizer in the world pure enough to wash away chemical depression. There is no vaccine for addiction, and I promise you, there's no beer in the galaxy high gravity enough to make you love yourself. We can't allow ourselves to forget what happened here today. We can't forget the plastic smile of the man who lived behind a mask. Nor can we allow this deadly virus to go unrecognized or unchecked any longer. We can't continue to let this evil contagion spread like the chaotic wildfire that it is. Something needs to be done. Some action needs to be taken. I just don't know what it is. I'm just not the right person to ask for the answers. I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I don't have a license or a degree. I don't have any formulas or solutions. I just have this pencil someone loaned me once, and this page, and this is not me offering a solution. This is not my attempt to make the world understand or care, nor is it a list of my regrets. It's a hope. It's a prayer. It is the least I can do.